Alright, so this is regarding the case I posted yesterday. Some of you think that this is a broken file. If it was a broken file, I would have mentioned it. Just like you guys, I also sometimes break files, maybe not as frequently as some of you guys, but if you do endo, you break a file. That's normal. But again, I don't break files as frequently as some of you. But sometimes a file fracture is inevitable. But for example, let's say I do on average maybe 3,000 root canals a year, and I may break, I don't know, 3 files a year, 4 files a year. So 3,000 root canals, and maybe out of the 3,000 root canals that I do, maybe in 4 teeth I could be breaking a file. That's a pretty high success rate. And again, it all has to do with making sure that I have a predictable and reproducible glide path that I create using stainless steel K files, at least to size 20, to my working length. And then, of course, I use crown down technique. So I don't just put a NiTi file in the canal all the way. Straight line, access, all of those are important. But anyways, some of you think that this is a broken file. Well, it's not. If it was, I would have mentioned it. This is another angulation. What happened to the broken file? What happened to the broken file? Oh, now I have a broken file in the distal. According to some of you, if I post this angulation, or maybe this is a broken file. See what happens here? When the gutta percha overlaps, and the angulation of the x-ray gives you the impression that maybe there is a broken file. But it's just the gutta percha overlapping on top of the other gutta percha. It gives that metallic look. By the way, look at all of this anatomy I picked up. Look at all of that. But that's pretty much what's happening. Overlapping of the gutta percha over gutta percha, and then the angulation of the x-ray. There is no broken file here, as you can see. But now suddenly here it looks like there's a broken file. See? Same with the mesial canals. When the gutta percha overlaps, folds and overlaps and compacts on top of the other gutta percha, and the angulation of the x-ray gives you the impression that perhaps maybe that's a broken file, but again, it's not. All right. And here I used the injection technique of gutta percha, so that's why the gutta percha didn't penetrate. See, the two canals join here, and then they separate again. And that happens sometimes when you use the injection technique of gutta percha. The gutta percha doesn't go to the full working length. And that's okay. Remember all these studies that I go over with you, the most famous being Dr. Lin. So yeah, this wasn't intentional. I did want to obturate to length, but it didn't obturate to length. And again, I don't mind that, because I know the science. So once in a while, unintentionally, stuff like that can happen, but that's okay. That's real life dentistry. That's real life endodontics. Real world endodontics. I could have just not posted this case, and just like some doctors, I could have just posted my best looking endo, or I could have photoshopped. I could have photoshopped too, but of course I don't do any of that stuff. So I post every single case. I don't only post just pretty cases. or Photoshop cases. I post real life endodontics, and sometimes in endodontics things like that can happen. And that's okay. All right, so this is not a broken file as I showed you. I hope that answered some of your questions.